Okay, hi everyone. Thank you for joining us today and a warm welcome to all of you. As you know, my name is Shruti and I'm a part of the Early Bird team. If you're joining us for the first time, let me share a bit about what we do. At Early Bird, we work on connecting young people with nature through birds. And to do this, we create bird-themed books, games, courses, and a lot of other material which you can use to learn and also teach about birds. We also conduct several trainings for educators and many events for children like this one. So why are we all here today? Does anyone know why we are doing this session today? You can tell me in the chat. No? Okay. So it is International Flamingo Day today. This day was started in 2020 to celebrate these iconic pink birds and to protect the wetlands that they call home. And guess what? Right now in India, thousands of flamingos have already gathered in Mumbai. So to explore their world, we have two fantastic birders with us from Bombay. Both of them are from Mumbai. First, we have Megha. Hi, Megha. Megha is a computer scientist and an AI expert who leads bird walks and nature workshops to help people reconnect with the wild. And we also have Sandra. Hi, Sandra, welcome. And Sandra is a wildlife biologist, and she's an expert at making complex nature concepts easy and fun for everyone to understand. Sandra and Megha, thank you so much for joining us. And I'm so excited to learn about flamingos from you today. Before we dive in, a few quick reminders for the audience. I request all of you to keep your videos and your mics off so that we can all hear the session clearly. If you like something on the screen that we are telling you, you can use Zoom reactions. You can use thumbs ups and hearts. Feel free to tell us what you're liking or not liking. And if you get a question anytime during the session, you can just put it in the chat and we'll take questions at the end. We will have some quizzes and some polls during the session, and these will all pop up on your screen. So just stay focused. Okay, that's all from my end. Over to both of you, Megha and Sandra.
Thank you so much, Shruti, for such a warm welcome. And thanks to all of you for joining today's session. I just want to start today's session by quickly asking you just two questions, okay? And you can type the answers in the chat, okay? How many of you have seen a flamingo in real life? Okay, we have answers coming in. Nice, nice. I have many times. That is amazing. Okay, so many of you have, and someone has never seen it. Okay, I really hope you get to see it soon. But for most of you, y'all have already seen flamingos, right? Can you all tell me where or which place have you seen it at? Okay, Mumbai, Mysore. Oh, this is going so fast. Wow. We have a bunch of kids who are already so familiar with flamingos. Okay, Chennai at a sanctuary, Dwarka, Gujarat, Ahmedabad. Very nice. So, most of you have seen flamingos, and most of you have seen it in different parts in our country itself, right? Megha, can you share the screen, please?
Yes.
So, yes, you are all right in seeing these flamingos in different parts. Okay. So, flamingos have a global distribution. They are found in many different parts of the world, and there are many different species that you find in different parts of the world. But in India, we majorly only see two species of flamingos. That is the greater flamingo, the one on the right hand side extreme corner, and the one just after that, that is the lesser flamingo. As you can see, these arrows are pointing in the different paths. So these are the different places where these flamingos are found, both of these, the lesser and the greater, and they are also found in India. If you actually go deeper into where these flamingos are found, the greater flamingo can be found in many different parts of Africa, a little bit in the Middle East, and in a significant part of India and Pakistan. Whereas the lesser flamingo is found majorly in the African part as well as in India towards Gujarat and all of these places. That brings me to my next question. So, There's a small QR that you will find on your screen that you will need to scan, and you will have a question that pops up. Read the question and start typing in your answers. And once some answers come in, I can start sharing my screen.
Also, if you find it hard to scan the QR code, you can directly open a browser tab on your computer or phone. If you're attending from phone, go to this menti.com website and enter this code. So then you'll see the question.
All right. So answers are coming in. There's pink, there's legs flying, huge bird. Yes, indeed, huge. We will dive into that. Flying legs. Come on, guys, what else do you think when you think of a flamingo?
Sandra, are you showing the word cloud?
I am. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. Okay, more answers coming in. Great. Cute. Agreed. Yes. Tall birds, they migrate. Shrimp, pink, thin legs. Nice. Someone has almost covered our entire session. Beak, calmness. Lovely. Lovely. Okay. So from what I am seeing from this, most of you think that flamingos are pink, right? And that is actually right. I mean, most of our flamingos are pink. All right.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, many flamingos are pink, and but do you know what makes them pink? So here is our first quiz for you. You will see a pop-up on your screen with the quiz question. Just select the answer that you think is correct.
That is nice. It looks like most of you already actually know. That is nice. Very good. Yeah, most of you have selected C. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. Let's see what the actual answer is. Yes, amazing. Such smart kids. So, yes, the answer is C. Okay, that is, they eat a lot of algae, brine shrimp, and crustaceans. Okay, so why and what has pink to do with this, right?
Yeah, Sandra, I also don't understand like why pink color because from shrimps, algae.
Exactly, right?
Could
That
you,
sounds so weird.
yeah, could you
But
explain?
yes, that is because most of these, your algae and your shrimp, they have something called as carotenoid. Okay? These are basically a pigment, something that gives color. Carotenoids are also found in foods that we eat, like you can see in this picture. This carrots, this papayas. Most of our red, green, yellow fruits have the pigment called carotenoid. The same pigment is also seen in your shrimp and in your algae. And when you are eating a lot of this, like when you eat beetroot, Megha, does your tongue turn purple?
It does, yes. I love that.
Exactly. I know, it's so cool. That is exactly what happens to the flamingos. When they eat food that is rich in carotenoids, they turn pink.
That's awesome. And I think these kind of algae and shrimp, they thrive in wetlands and saline, brackish waters. And
Yes.
I think that's why I have seen them around a lot of tidal creeks and salt pans in Mumbai. So there's this Thane Creek Flamingo Sanctuary where a lot of flamingos are seen. And they are there in hundreds and thousands. If you look from a distance, sometimes just driving past that creek, it looks like a thick pink cloud has descended on the water, something like this.
And this is one of the best sights to see. They're so beautiful when you look at them. So Megha, I was just wondering. I mean, is this where they live all year long, or what? Like, are they just there all the time?
That's a very good question, Sandra, but why don't we ask our audience first? So here's your next quiz. It should pop up on your screen. And you tell us, do flamingos live all year long in India? What do you think?
Okay, I can see a lot of answers coming in. And most of you think it is A. Okay. Okay, let's see some more answers coming in. There's like a tough competition between A and B. I can see the polls go up and down. Okay, okay, okay. All right. Someone is asking in the chat, question mark B? All right, let's see what the answer is. Yes, the answer is B.
Answer is B, yes. So the truth is that there are some flamingos that have made India their permanent home. And they are born here, they grow up here, they lay eggs here, right? And they take care of their chicks and they spend their whole life in India. But there are also many populations of flamingos that spend only a few months, usually November to May or December to June in India. And then after that time, they fly off to other parts of the world, like other parts of Asia, Europe, or even Africa. And in fact, many birds show this kind of behavior that they spend some part of the year in one part of the world and the rest of the year in some other part. And this behavior, this phenomena is called migration, bird migration. I don't know how many of you are familiar with it already, but I'll explain it a little more through this map. Okay, so this map shows the migration routes of lesser flamingos. So you can see that they migrate to India from regions like Afghanistan, Pakistan, even Israel and Iran. Okay, but however, there are a few lesser flamingos. Not few, I mean, there are certain populations of lesser flamingos who reside permanently in Gujarat, in Rajasthan, in the Sambar Lake in Rajasthan and Rann of Kutch in Gujarat, even they make some small distance migrations to Mumbai around December and stay here till June, right? So you can see two types of migrations happening here. One is from far away places, other countries. So these are called long distance migrations. And the other ones which are within India, these are called local migrations. Okay. Uh, yeah, so uh, I and a lot of birds, as I mentioned, this is a map for lesser flamingos, but all greater flamingos also show this kind of migration behavior. But the question remains, why do they migrate, right? So I want to ask you, do you know why they migrate? The quiz will pop up on your screen, and let's see what you think.
Ma'am, can I tell the answer?
No, 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 no. Let everyone try it out, think about it. You can select the correct answer on the quiz pop-up on your screen. All right, Sandra, what kind of answers are we seeing?
A lot of answers are coming in, but most of them are leaning towards B. That is, they
B.
want to escape the cold weather in the north. There are
Yeah.
still answers coming in. A lot of people are typing in the chat also. Someone said it's very easy.
It's
That's
too
not an
easy.
option. All right, so let's see what the answers is.
Okay. So the correct answer is actually 3 of these options. Wow. Sandra, would you tell us more about this, please?
while you are all correct that B is actually an answer, C and D are also correct answers. Let's understand why. So when these birds are far up in the north, in the northern countries, I don't mean North India, in the countries much above in the northern hemisphere, it gets really cold there. The winters are extremely harsh, right? And it gets very difficult for these birds to survive. So they come to a tropical country like India. Someone asked in the chat, why India? Because India has great food, literally. It also has great food for us, and it also has great food for the flamingos. So flamingos come to tropical countries where the environment is much more tolerable and better. And there is also enough food, because once it gets really cold up in the north, it is also very difficult to find food, right? So they come here, and then they come to our wetlands, because our coastal areas have an abundance of wetlands, an abundance of the right environment for them to find their food, their algae and their crustaceans, and they can eat on all of that. So they come to these places, and finally they come here to start a family.
Start a family. Well, migration because of the extreme cold and lack of food, those reasons do make sense to me. But I don't understand why they would come here to start a family. Do they need to make any special preparations for that?
In fact, yes, they do have to make special preparations for that. And the first and the most important thing that they need to do is find the right partner, right? And for that, they have to find the partner which is the pinkest in color. Isn't that funny?
What has pink color got to do with finding a partner?
Well, in the flamingo world, having the brightest, most vibrant pink colors and pink feathers is a huge advantage during courtship. Let me ask our audience, do you guys know why? Can you tell me, why do the birds want the pinkest partner?
Yeah, so you'll see a pop-up quiz pop-up on your screen. Select the right answer from there.
Some answers are coming in chat. Okay. Makes it easier to see them in a crowd. Okay. Some are saying B. Okay. Okay, looks like the poll is leaning towards B. And the chat is leaning towards B. Interesting. Okay, okay. Answers are still coming in. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's see what the answer is. Yes, you are right. The answer is B. It proves that they are healthy and great at finding high quality food, which is why the flamingos need to find the pinkest of partners, right? So the males have to impress the females, right? They must first prove to the female that they are actually, in fact, capable of not just finding food, but also surviving and helping to lay and grow a chick, right? So that is why the females pick the flamingos that are really pink in color.
Oh, is that so?
Yes, it is so. And once a pair is formed, right, then they mate for life. But first, in order to actually get a good partner, they need to bring out their most significant moves in order to impress the females. Okay, that is how it works in the bird world. So let's watch a quick video to see how these birds do it.
By comparing and contrasting precise and synchronized moves, male and female lesser flamingos keep their eye out for a suitable partner. Good rhythm and coordination suggest a good match. Exacting choreography is one way to stand out on the flamingo dance floor, but it's not the only way. To find a mate, birds also need to be pink as possible. Flamingo's coloration is a byproduct of grazing on the lake's algal blooms. Birds that are more efficient at foraging are a brighter pink.
All right.
Wasn't that so cute, Megha?
Absolutely.
Oh my God. But I was just wondering, do flamingo parents also take care of their babies just the way human parents do?
Yes.
Yes. Well, yes, we have the answer from the audience. Yes, absolutely. In fact, they are very similar to humans in the way they feed their chicks because they also feed their chicks milk, and they have a very interesting strategy for that. Um, so both parents produce something called crop milk, which is produced in their digestive tract, and then they feed it to the chicks using their bills. I have a pic here to show you what I mean. So this is what it looks like. See, the parent is feeding the chick.
Megha, that's not milk, that is blood. It's red.
No, it does look like blood, but actually that's crop milk, and it is red because any guesses? It's
Ma'am,
red.
because it is in the digestive system and the blood flows in, ma'am.
No, no, no. They are not feeding their chicks actual blood. It's red because of the same reason flamingos are pink, right? Because of all the carotenoids that they have consumed, the carotenoids that Sandra told us about. So the milk that they produce, these pigments make way to the milk as well, and that's why the milk is red. And the cool thing is that both parents, both mother and father flamingo, can produce crop milk. This milk is highly nutritious. It is rich in fat and protein, and it gives a lot of energy and helps the chick to grow fast. Uh, Chicks are fed this milk exclusively for the initial weeks of their life, and they can keep consuming it till up to 6 months of their lives. Okay, so I'll show you a lovely video to show this in action. Here it is.
So these bird parents produce milk. It's made in their throat and comes out of their mouths, but has the same amount of protein and fat as milk. The hormone prolactin stimulates milk production, the same as for humans. Except here, both parents have prolactin, so dad produces milk too. The milk is bright red, as it contains the chemicals that give the chick its pink colour until it can feed itself. The feeding drains the parents of their own colour, and they start to look a bit washed out, a feeling most parents are familiar with. With both parents working together, they manage to produce enough milk to sustain their chick until its bill has developed, and it's able to stand on its own 2 feet.
I think that has got to be one of the most fascinating things that I have seen a pair of parents do for their children, and it's just beautiful. But while I was watching this video, I couldn't help but wonder, all these other birds that we have near us, they all have like a straight-ish beak. Why is this flamingo's beak all teda meda like that? I mean, why would you do that?
Yeah, so why don't we ask our little audience that first, right? Why do adult flamingos have a funny shaped bill? A quiz should pop up on your screens. And as always, yes, please answer the question.
Answers are coming in, and most of the people are thinking C, to filter small food like algae and shrimp from water. Is it just one answer? Are you all confident it is C? Okay. Okay. I think we have unanimously agreed to C. Let's see what the answer is. Awesome. I think you kids are already really smart. Yes, the answer is C, to filter small food like algae and shrimp from water. So if you look very closely, this is how the flamingos feed, right? Their heads go upside down into the water because of their really long necks, right? So having such a beak acts like a filter. If you look at this image on the right, can you see these teeth-like structures inside of their beaks? Those are called lamellae, okay? And this actually sort of helps them sift through the water and, get hold of these tiny, tiny shrimps and free-flowing algae and all of that. So flamingos are what we call as filter feeders. And when they are filter feeding, they use their specialized beaks, which have lamellae, in order to sift through water and eat their food. So that's so cool.
Shall we also watch a video about it, Sandra?
Of course, yes. I think that will help us understand better.
Yes, let's bring that up.
They need water to feed themselves. Flamingos belong to a group of animals known as filter feeders. With their long legs, they stand in shallow waters and use their feet to stir up the soil underneath. They then scoop up some of the water in their beak, using their tongue as a kind of pump to filter it through structures in their mouths. They can expel the water, retain food, but then get rid of the waste. Their diet is varied and depends on the environment, but can include mollusks, annelids, larvae, small fish or algae. They eat upside down. The shape of their curved-tipped bill slopes downward. This allows these birds to submerge their head and drink the water with the bottom of their beak. In doing so, they cup the water to carry out their filtration process. Although they are kept upside down, they can freely move their upper jaw, which helps with feeding. Their colour varies according to the species.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just amazed at the amazing techniques nature has evolved. It just blows my mind.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. There's another thing I noticed. Many of these flamingos, they were just like standing on, they have such long legs, first of all, and they just stand on like one leg. I mean, that's so strange.
I'm so glad, Sandra, that you raised that question. And I know exactly what you're talking about. Uh, th this is what we have here, right? And but before I talk about that, I would want our audience to type in the chat that which part, just look at my cursor. You tell me which part of the flamingo's leg is this. Can you all see my cursor? Yes, I'm pointing to a joint and I want you to tell me which part of the flamingo's leg that is. Type in the chat, please.
Okay, we are all very unanimously agreeing on knee.
Okay.
Okay, knee, but it bends backward. Someone is asking a question. Is it ankle, an adapted ankle?
Okay.
Someone said in caps, I don't know.
That's perfectly okay too. All right. So yes, a lot of you think that it's the knee, and understandably so because of its position on the leg. But actually, my friends, that's the ankle of the flamingo. And you can you see like when the flamingo lifts its leg, how it bends backward, it goes backward, right? And when we lift our leg by bending our knee joint, our leg lifts up forwards, not backwards, right? And that's because this is not the knee, it's the ankle of the flamingo. So let me explain this better with this picture here. So on the left, you can see the bones in the leg of a flamingo, and on the right is a human skeleton, so that we can see the bones in a human leg as well. Okay, so there are many similarities in both anatomies, in the sense that we both have flamingos and humans both have similar joints. We both have hips, knees, ankles, right? We have thighs, calves, and toes. However, the major difference is that a flamingo's hip and not hip, sorry, the knee is very high up. It's actually very close to its body, and it's hidden under its feathers. We don't normally see its knee. And what we see here is the ankle. And why this kind of structure? Because it's flamingo's leg is adapted, uh, specifically adapted for wading in water. Okay, so let's just see joint by joint. So see, this is where the flamingo's knee is, and that's our knee joint, right? So you can see this is the thigh, also very high up in hidden inside the body. And this is the flamingo's calf bone, right, which corresponds to this bone in our body. And this is the ankle, where we have our ankle here. This is the foot. I mean, this is not technically called the foot of the flamingo, but this corresponds to this part of the human skeleton. And the toes, of course, correspond to our toes. Okay, so so if you actually think about it, a flamingo is always standing on its tippy toes, isn't it? It's always standing on its toes, and doesn't have its foot down like we do. All right. I'll move forward. Sorry, Sandra, I forgot about your question. You asked, flamingos are able to stand on one leg and for such long times. And question is, why do they do that? And how do they manage to do that? Because I have tried standing on one leg during my yoga class, and I find it really tough. Okay, so the reason why they do that is because they spend so much time in water that they tend to lose a lot of body heat uh, through their legs, right? So to avoid losing their body heat and also to give their muscles some rest, they often, when they are standing, they are not moving around, they just lift one of their legs up. Okay, and then they will stand on one leg for maybe a couple of hours, and then they'll switch their leg to use the other one and give the rest to the first one. All right. And how do they do it, right? It seems very difficult to be standing on one leg for hours. And they have a very cool mechanism for that, which is called the stay apparatus. Okay. And what does it mean? Just think of a hammock. A hammock is a very soft, and it tends to swing. But if you tie it sturdily to very strong trees on both ends, then you don't have the fear of falling down, the hammock falling down due to gravity. Or think of a car going uphill. And do you know what a parking brake is in a car? So sometimes we have to use the parking brake so that the car doesn't go downhill too quickly. It helps to kind of arrest the movement of the car. So similarly, the stay apparatus is a mechanism by which the bones, the knee joint and the ankle joint, they kind of lock in place when the flamingo is standing on one leg. And when it locks in place, basically the flamingo has to use no energy, no muscle power to stay like that. It is just happening mechanically. How cool is that? And I wish I had that kind of body mechanism. All right, so yeah.
Now that you are explaining all of these things, I can't help but wonder, flamingos are so smart. I mean, I am going to look at them in a whole different light next time I see them, because I'm going to be able to notice all of these things in the flamingo, and I'm just in awe of this bird. It's just wonderfully adapted to the kind of life that it has to live. And that is just, I have no words. I am mind blown.
Same here, same here. All right. Yeah. Sandra, you were saying something?
No, I think that is bringing us almost to the end of our presentation.
Yeah. So here's a quick recap of what we covered.
So we started with understanding the distribution of flamingos, where in the different parts of the world they are found, and which two species that we find here, the lesser and the greater flamingo, and in which parts of the country they are found in. Then we moved on to their feeding habit, where they feed on shrimp and algae, due to which they absorb the pigment called carotenoid, which is giving them their pink color. After which we move to see where they come from and why do they come. We saw the different parts of the world that they migrate from, and then they come to India, and then they move back out. After which we learned about courtship behavior. We learned about how they pick a partner, what are the criteria that they see to pick a partner, and how they feed their chicks. In the next part, we learned about the crop milk, how both the parents produce crop milk, the reason for the color of the crop milk to be red. And then finally, we learned about the lamellae, the beak, and lastly, we learned about the anatomy of the leg and how they stand.
I think it would be a good idea to quickly show a final video to which recaps all of this in a fun way.
Gujarat comes alive in the monsoons. Rivers swell up and the sea gushes into the interiors of Kutch. The dry, parched flatland is transformed into an oasis teeming with life. Ready to welcome its most glamorous guests, the flamboyant greater and lesser flamingos. Gujarat's Rann of Kutch is Asia's largest breeding ground for flamingos. Some of these birds come from other parts of India, but some are set to travel from as far as North Africa and South Asia. What makes Gujarat a hotspot is its long coastline, fed by stretches of tidal creeks in the gulfs of Kutch and Kambat. Flamingos spend endless hours foraging in these creeks, feeding on microscopic algae, plankton, mollusks, and brine shrimp. Their large beaks have inbuilt filters that sift and take in only what's appetizing. It is this diet, rich in a pigment called carotenoid, that gives flamingos their vivid pink hue. But the special pigment-rich buffet flourishes only in high saline wetlands that are increasingly being destroyed.
All right. So yeah, that video nicely sums up a lot of what we covered. And that brings us almost to the end of our presentation. But before you go, you guys already might have the menti.com open on your screens, in your browsers. If not, you can go back to it. And we have one question we would want you to answer there.
Let me quickly share my screen. Okay, so the question is already on your screen. What is the most fascinating thing that you learned about flamingos today? Is my screen visible?
Yes.
All right. Okay. I actually do agree. Crop milk has got to be One of the most fascinating things that we have learned. How they become pink. The leg anatomy. Nice. Nice. Ankle joint. Pink. Nice. How they become pink. Okay, okay. So we have our audience split between the crop milk and how they are becoming pink. Many are also finding the leg structure interesting. Okay. That they are filter feeders, right? Yes. Yeah, it's such an interesting way how they are eating food. Yeah. There's another one, migration. Nice, nice. Okay. Okay, so most of you are fascinated by how they are getting their color pink and the leg structure. Very nice. And the filter feeding. Okay, very nice. Nice, nice. All right, so these are all the things that you have loved about the birds. And there is so much more and so many fascinating things that are going on in the lives of flamingos that we barely knew about. But now that we know a little bit more about it, I really hope that you all are able to, next time you see this bird, another chance that you get to see this bird, you actually have a lot more appreciation towards how they are and towards how they are living and everything that they are doing. And with this, we end our presentation, and over to you, Shruti.
Thanks again, Sandra and Megha. We now know so much about flamingos apart from the fact that they are pink and we know that they walk on their toes and they feed their babies red milk. It's just amazing. Thank you again for putting this incredible session together and joining us today, and also answering all the questions that the audience had. And I can tell from the chat that our audience also loved all the questions, all the quizzes, and the videos. So we are ending the session now. And if you all think that flamingos are cool, there's a lot of more cool stuff happening in the bird world. We have, and to teach you that, we have online courses and workshops designed to turn you into a bird expert. Megha is, in fact, taking a workshop next month in Mumbai. So I will send you details of all our courses and workshops. And as promised in the announcement, we also have a flamingo themed pack, which we will send you by email. And Sandra has put that together. It has 2 infographics, 1 poster, and 1 sticker sheet, which you can print and use. So look out for my email. That's all. Thank you so much for joining us today, everyone, and being an absolutely wonderful audience. We'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye,
Bye.
ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.